Creative Living, utilizing today's technology with the best of the past to bring you innovative ideas and up-to-date information for creative lifestyles in today's active world. With your host, Sheryl Borden.
Thanks so much for joining me today for Creative Living. We're going to learn how to get a handle on your debt before it overwhelms you. We'll show how to make a cute kid's costume and discuss the importance of family dinners. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, approximately 69% of households in the United States hold some form of debt. One of my guests is Gary Barnes, and he's a business coach, entrepreneur, and speaker, and he'll talk about taking a proactive approach to paying off debt now instead of later. Another guest is Karina Gardner, and she's going to demonstrate making a cute octopus costume. Karina is a designer and creative director, and her business is Karina Gardner Incorporated and Cartabella Paper Company, and she lives in Salt Lake City, Utah. My first guest today is Pat Baird, and she cites research that shows that families who eat together tend to communicate better. Pat's going to demonstrate some recipes that will make your table a magnet for family dinners. She represents Country Crock, and she lives in Greenwich, Connecticut. Pat, it's so nice to have you here, and I'm so glad the concept of a family dinner, having everyone sitting around a table and talking, is sort of coming back into vogue.
It is, and it's really important, and not just because of nutrition and having a meal together, which as a dietitian, of course, I want to talk about. But, you know, it's interesting. There's a survey recently that said that 74% of adolescents actually prefer having family dinners. And beyond just eating, the benefits of family dinners are the bonds are closer in those families. Kids get to talk about their day.
Better communication
Much
for everyone.
Better. And it's a great way for parents to find out what's really going on.
Especially if your kids have invited their friends over.
Oh, that's
you can
even
just
better.
find out
That's
great
hitting
things.
the jackpot. Yes, it is.
So how do we entice people to eat at home? Because I read that almost half of a family's budget is spent on eating out.
It is. And what I want to do is I want to show you how to plan a meal, but quick and easy ways to do it, because most of the sodium, fat, and sugar that we get are from processed foods. So let's make it at home. Okay, how to plan your meal. My plate, that's the visual representation of the dietary guidelines. Half the plate should be fruits and vegetables with some protein, grains, and often the missing message rather, is to also include some dairy, milk, yogurt, cheese, whatever.
And that's probably the easiest visual, I think, for everyone. When we used to have the triangle, it was harder to understand.
I think this is the absolute best. Salads are actually a great entree, and we can use some baked chicken or fish, make a whole bunch of grilled chicken on Sunday, and then make a main course salad during the week. Serve that with some fresh fruit and a glass of milk, and there's dinner. Everybody loves pasta, and kids love baked macaroni.
Oh, yeah.
When you make baked macaroni from scratch, you really cut down on the fat and the cholesterol. Garnish it with some vegetables.
Sneak in a few unusual ones sometimes.
And I always keep frozen vegetables on hand. If I cook pasta from scratch, I put the vegetables in a colander. I never cook them. And then when you pour the boiling water over it and mix it up with a little bit of salt.
And the nutrients
stay the same.
Yeah, it doesn't
and they don't get
discolor.
mushy.
Right.
And
that's a great
idea.
idea.
The nice part is you can add beans or meat to a pasta dish, have a small salad, and a yogurt parfait.
Oh.
Here we've got some dried fruit with the yogurt. And again, you're getting in your serving of fruit. It can be fresh fruit, dried fruit, whatever works.
Wow, that makes it easy to get the fruit, because people always complain that the hardest part is to get your fruit and vegetables.
Yes.
That's a lot, 5 servings a day.
It is, and thinking ahead is what's important.
Planning.
So fat is the next consideration. And this is the nice part about making things at home. Whether you're making a rice pilaf, or if you're doing some baking, or just serving some whole grain bread, the easiest way to cut down your intake of saturated fat and cholesterol is to use a soft spread like Country Crock. There's no trans fats, and because it's made with soybean oil and canola oil, it's actually 70% less saturated fat than butter. Olive oil, canola oil should always be on the shelf. These are the two that have the most mono or heart-healthy saturated fats.
And you brought up a good point. We need to take time to read labels when we're going through the store, not just by the color or the size, the bottle that we tend to always get.
You're absolutely correct. And just compare a couple of brands and see. Avocados are wonderful. Again, they've got those monounsaturated fats. We can use garnishes like nuts and seeds to bring in more fiber, those heart-healthy fats, and even add a little bit of protein.
And we do need some fat in our bodies for the organs to work correctly.
Fat's a very important nutrient. The dilemma is that most of us eat too much and the wrong kind.
And the wrong kind.
So let's get the right kind. All of this happens with just a little bit of planning. So I love to prepare, and I know you do too. We were just talking about making homemade soup. And the key is to have lots of containers, freezer bags, different freezer containers in different sizes and shapes. So you can make a pot of chili, a pot of baked macaroni, a lasagna, cut it into individual portions. You've always got dinner ready to go.
And it's just as easy to cook large quantities as it is to cook for one or two.
It is. On a a rainy Sunday afternoon, put on a pot of chili. You know, and you're getting...
bake your chicken or whatever, and you have all of that wonderful meat left to do several things with.
But you have to know what to buy. And this is the ticket. We go shopping when we're hungry and we don't have a list. This particular list actually has a magnetized back. This is what I keep on my refrigerator.
Good idea.
So I always have a running list. Do I need to buy beans? Do I need to buy milk or fruit? And it's categorized by aisles.
That's a great idea and such a time saver. And if you've worked all day and you're going to stop by the store on your way home, you don't want to spend any more time than you have to.
You never get halfway through a recipe and say, oh, I have no broccoli.
I've done that, unfortunately.
And the other thing is, get everybody on board with these meals. Keep a big master calendar in the kitchen, in the family room, so that everybody knows, okay, Wednesday night we're having dinner, Sunday we're having brunch, and back it up on Google. Put a Google Calendar on everybody's cell phone. And that way they know. They check it in the morning, they check in the afternoon. This is Wednesday, got to get home for dinner.
Well, and we all like to eat out occasionally, and I loved your tip about making a contest out of letting the whole family figure out which restaurant has the healthiest choices. I love that.
I do too. And this is the good news about eating out, is many of the restaurants now are starting to have better choices. They have the nutrition information right on the menu. So let the kids go online and look up a few of the restaurants. The fast food chains have got some good choices. The family restaurants. Get online, as you know, you mentioned, have a contest.
I like that.
It's fun.
It really is. Well, thank you so much for bringing us up to date on what, like the My Plate, what we really need to be concentrating on, and then sharing some ways to get there. That's important, to have a plan.
Yes, and have a plan.
Thank you. Karina, I can remember when my kids had birthdays, they thought for months ahead what the theme would be. And you said this is where you got the idea for the segment we're going to show now.
I did. So my oldest daughter, who is now 10, she was 6 at the time, and she was really obsessed with The Little Mermaid. Okay. So, but you know, ironically, the person she liked in The Little Mermaid was Ursula. So she loved
not the mermaid.
The octopus. She loved Ariel, but you know, she was kind of obsessed with Ursula, and she wanted an undersea water party. And she wanted to dress like an octopus, and I was racking my head, and I'm like, I'm not buying an octopus costume. So this was my solution for it. It's a fun and easy solution. Even if you're not doing a water party, you can use this for dress up or Halloween.
Yeah.
It's just a fun
it
little
would be
easy
fun.
project.
And so cute. She looks adorable.
Thank you.
And what I thought was interesting when you told me about it, you only make 6 legs because you use...
Their little legs are the last 2 legs.
See, I didn't even think about that.
So you have to remember that is because they've got to have 8 legs, unless you're doing a squid, which will show that as well.
Okay.
But so what you need is well, so here's the problem. Knee socks come in sets of 3 usually.
Oh, yes. So you've got
so
to
you
buy.
have to buy 4 sets of knee socks, not socks. So you will probably have to, you know, your kids can wear the other ones, or you're making 3 octopus outfits. I don't know, whatever you want to do. So you'll just need knee socks, and you will need stuffing and a t-shirt. And here is the great thing. I mean, all of these things you can buy at your regular department store, but even better than that, you can reuse things. So if you have old socks, you can use those. If you have old t-shirts that are, you know,
maybe a spot here or there or something, or
then you can
tear.
just use those. And if you want to embellish a t-shirt, you can, you know, add transfer paper like I did in this one.
Oh, yeah, it's got the little...
We did a little octopus on it, which was really fun.
That's a cute idea.
So I'm just going to show you how to stuff it and get it ready, but it's a quick project, okay? So you need basic stuffing. You can see my stuffing right
And
here.
you can buy that in the big bags.
Buy a big bag. You're just going to stuff your...
Start down at the toe.
Start down at that toe. And here's the thing. Do not overstuff. If you overstuff it, it's going to be really hard to sew, okay? So...
Oh, yeah, we've got to attach these to that t-shirt.
Yes, and it's not the funnest thing anyway to get it on there. It's very little sewing, but the sewing you do have to do is a little bit, you know, a little painful.
So make it easy for yourself.
Do it, yeah. And then you're just gonna stuff it all the way to the top, okay? So you can see, and you can kind of work it out, you know, however you want. Okay, so the second thing you need to do is you're just gonna go to your sewing machine and just sew the top up.
Keep the stuffing in.
Just keep the stuffing in, because guess what? The kids will find a way to open these up. So go ahead and close it off. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to take your t-shirt, and you are going to just make sure you only do 6 of these, remember? And you're just going to pin it.
So do you do 3 and 3? I mean, evenly spaced?
That's what I like
or,
to do.
Okay.
It makes it easier.
I see.
I mean, the last 3 you do is going to be hard no matter what, because you're
Flopping the
juggling all
legs.
of these around. But I just go ahead and pin it on there, and then just take it through my sewing machine. If you want to take it through twice to stabilize it, you totally can. Or if you want to do things like embellish it by putting a ruffle on top so you can't see the machine, or pom-poms or whatever, you can do that. And you have an octopus costume so quickly. Now let me tell you, let's just show you a couple of projects. So this one actually has a ruffle on it. The shirt actually came with the ruffle.
Oh.
But look how fun that is.
Let's get all the legs out here. Oh, how fun.
And the fun part is, depending on your kids, so my 6-year-old would definitely wear this with a big tutu underneath, you know, flying out, and maybe a pair of shorts. Or, you know, my other daughter, my 10-year-old, would wear this with like capris underneath.
Little leggings
and then
or capris.
her, of course, her matching socks, so that her legs are part of the set. So
how cute.
That's pretty fun. This is our squid costume. This is kind of my mistake. I actually put 8 legs on this. So that means that your daughter is going to put on the last set, and she'll have 10 legs. But you can see that this is actually in great shape for you to add embellishment to it, to make it fun. You'll notice for my daughter, we did a beanie hat as well, and that gives you like that feeling of, you know, she's like a little octopus with a big flower on it. So it's just meant to be fun and so simple. This is a really fast project.
I can see, yeah, like your sewing
double
techniques.
sewed it
That's
right
great.
in.
That's probably smart, because if anyone else is around, they're going to be beating these legs against
and
things.
if you have a baby boy like I do, then he's going to play with these. He won't put it on, but he'll play with these. So
well, these are so cute. I would have never thought about making that, and I'm like you. I wouldn't have gone to buy one to wear for one occasion. I bet she was the happiest little girl at the party.
She really was, and she still has fun in it. So it's just a fun useful project for their dress up.
And they can help do all the stuffing, and then
Yes.
you know, you can do the sewing. Well, thank you so much for showing us how cute she looked, and thank you. Gary, it's so nice to have you here. I appreciate getting a chance to read your books ahead of getting to talk to you. And I guess the topic that everyone can relate to is debt. And, you know, none of us wants debt, but sometimes we incur it, but there are ways to handle debt. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about, is how the things it causes us, like extra stress that we don't maybe attribute to debt, marriages in trouble, so much of it is caused by debt, money problems.
Absolutely. You know, I've talked about, you know, debt in America is that slavery that we have been, that we volunteered for. But we do it so quickly or so slowly over time that it happens almost overnight. We think it's quick. And it's something that has stolen so much from particularly the American population.
Well, and I still remember when my kids all started college, about 3 months before they were going to start, I never saw so much mail coming to the house to offer them credit cards. And so many younger people get into that credit, that debt situation unknowingly almost.
Oh yeah, they call it free money.
Free money, that's right.
And when my oldest went to register for his freshman year in college, it was interesting because to go through and finish registering, he had to sign that he did not want 2 credit cards.
Wow,
And
that was
so,
on the form.
You know, Christmas time I found out about him. You know, it wasn't until then. But in his mind, it was free money.
Well, and I think the anxiety, going back to that again, that's not only for the person in debt, it's for, in case of college students, it can affect the whole family, and it usually does.
Right, and it, you know, the delayed gratification, again, we have lost that. You know, we're planning on a purchase, and when do we want that to happen for us? And that stress and anxiety that is created that way, we don't even realize that it's wearing on us, and it can affect us physically as well. So it really has a multifaceted, you know, detriment to us, potentially at least.
Well, and in your book it talked about paying interest is giving your wealth to others. Boy, does that hit home.
You know,
we don't want to do that.
You know, even our credit card companies on our statements are saying if you make the minimum payment, it's going to take so long to get out of debt. If you make a little additional, it cuts off years.
Years,
And today, even with the tax program that we have that is not deductible in most circumstances, it's truly giving our wealth away. Sometimes paying on an item that we no longer even own.
Right, don't even have, or doesn't work, or whatever.
Or we thought we wanted it, and
but you know, again, going back to the free money, that's how it's seen for so many people, because if they have access to go buy the things immediately, the interest is what eats them up.
yes, absolutely.
But you give us hope. You say it's never too late, and I assume you mean to get out of debt.
To get out of debt. You know, it isn't. And it's never, the numbers are never so big that you can't get out of debt as well. And sometimes, you know, we do have regulations with bankruptcy, but I really don't recommend that. I really equate it back to losing weight. You know, weight did not come on easy overnight, you know.
Yeah.
And debt, we want to do the consolidation loans. And people say, well, can I get out of debt overnight? And I go, no, just like I can't lose 50 pounds overnight unless I want to lose an arm or a leg. And so you can do it, but the consequences of that are extreme. But it's never too late. It's about chipping away and building new habits. That's something that's really going to change it. And it's not going to happen overnight again, but you will get out of debt.
And then how do you then equate that to a statement I read in one of the books that says your debt will not go away by itself?
If you don't have a plan. See, I look at a question, I ask audiences all over the world this question: is money logical or emotional? And I will get half the room that will say one side or the other. And they get surprised when I say it's neither one. It's a piece of paper with ink on it that does not have the ability to be emotional or logical. It's inanimate. And so what it does, it's a chameleon. If we treat it logically, it will treat us back logically. If we treat it emotionally, it will treat us emotionally. So without a plan, it's going to be very emotional. It's going to, if we have more money than we expect, it's what I call new rich. And so now I really have maybe not bought some things that I wanted or needed, and now I feel like, okay, now I deserve it. And people have asked me, when should I put in, and I don't really believe in budgets, which is going to sound counterintuitive, but I really believe in spending plans, because that's what we do. And they say, when should I install a spending plan for myself, before or after I win the lottery? And I go, well, you better do it before, because if you do it after, it's never going to happen.
Well, and do you always recommend then that people get a financial advisor, or do you think most people can do it on their own?
It can help, but really anyone can do it on their own. It comes down to discipline. If they're not willing to look at their finances, and here's something else. So many people over the years, I owned a financial planning firm for 35 years, and so I've seen all the circumstances. But what I have found is people think that the situation is worse than it usually is.
Really?
When they really get underneath where things are and how it becomes manageable, and they're actually pleasantly surprised.
Oh, that would be nice, especially when you're, again, the anxiety, the disappointment, the problems that you're having to find out there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's nice. We were talking about the anxiety and relieving stress, but money problems really do cause problems in relationships.
They do. And it's unfortunate. I think the number one reason for divorce is still attributed to finances in some way. And instead of looking at finances as an asset that will enhance a relationship, it can destroy it. But once you get your finances in sync with each other, because normally the personalities are opposite, we're attracted to opposite personalities, but getting a plan of action that you both agree to, then it can actually help marriages. We're teaching our children. If we have business partners, I mean, all the way along, and our relationships absolutely will improve.
In all the years you were a financial planner, did you find that in most marriages, one's a spender, one's a saver?
Yep, I actually did. You know,
Always
and
heard that.
the leaning is that the female is the spender, the male is the logic, and it's not always that way, I got to tell you. And it's so, and one is not wrong and one is not good, because if you have the resources and never let go of them, you're never benefiting from the resource as well. Likewise, if you are just like a sieve, that automatic ATM, it comes in, goes out, and you don't get to participate in the benefits, that can be just as detrimental. So it's about learning what is important within a business or a relationship and coming to an agreement, and then apply the plan.
As parents, when and how should we start teaching all of this to our children?
You know, we did not do any allowances. So we had all boys, and so they can never find anything or keep anything like coats and shoes. You know, they come home with one shoe, whatever. But we would buy their shoes and their coats. And then we would give them an allowance for, or not allowance, an income for, you know, exchange for their home chores. And then they would have to go out and spend the money when they were 7 and 8 years old. And I remember one time saying, hey, let's go to the outlet stores, you know, and they go, Dad, we can't afford the outlet stores. and so they got to where they really understood the value of money. And it really, you know, has helped them along the way, and their wives now have thanked us for it.
So do you think allowances are not appropriate?
You know, it's going back to free money. You know, if they contribute, I think it really instills a sense of ownership to the family. So to give them a bonus or a gift is one thing. I think the old concept of an allowance, just because you're a member of the family and you're breathing, you are, you know, it's about, you know, the contribution.
Rewards. It should be rewards, contributions. Yeah,
Sure.
I agree with you on that one. Well, it's really been nice to have you here. I've learned a lot. I think we've hopefully covered some things that maybe will be helpful, and maybe at least people will know where to go to get some information.
Absolutely. It's been a joy to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Next time on Creative Living, we'll learn how to create beautiful textures on fabric. We'll see actual examples of how to dress 10 pounds thinner, and we'll demonstrate making fringe flowers by machine embroidery. One of my guests on the next show is going to demonstrate how to create texture on the surface of fabric, whether it's older clothing, new garments, or actual fabric. Another guest is a wardrobe consultant and author, and she's going to demonstrate on herself how to make changes that will result in a slimmer and more flattering look. And finally, we'll meet a designer and digitizer who says that fringe flowers add additional dimension to embroidery designs. She'll demonstrate several types of fringe flowers that can be made with an embroidery machine. All of these topics will be featured on the next Creative Living show. If you ever have comments or suggestions or ideas for shows, you can email me at cheryl.borden@enmu.edu. I'd also like to ask you to become a fan of Creative Living on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and in the search window type in Creative Living with Sheryl Borden. Thanks so much. I hope you'll plan to join me next time for Creative Living.
We're very pleased to offer a new booklet that accompanies this series of Creative Living. This booklet is titled the 6800 Series, and it features a wonderful collection of ideas and information. And it's available free of charge on our website. Posted as a PDF file, you can simply download the entire booklet or just the segments you're most interested in. For your copy of this new booklet, go to our website at KENW.org and then click on Creative Living. Scroll down to the booklet section and you can click on the booklet or on any of the other booklets we have available online. We'd also like to invite you to sign up for our free e-newsletter. Just go to KENW.org and click on the Sign Up Now button and input your email address. Thank you.